Welcome to the Keiser Report. I'm Max Keiser. Closed the night before Christmas, and all along the beach, nobody's here, because it's freaking winter in Florida. Stacy.
Max, wake up! Santa Claus is here.
I'm getting a suntan.
Santa, open your eyes. I haven't seen your eyes at all.
Hello. Wow, this really is Florida.
Well, we're in Florida. We don't need a winter coat. That's why we're not in London. I need sunglasses while I'm here. This is my Christmas gift to you. Trump rally has punished doubters as the stock market roars to all-time highs. Trump's election has resulted in more than $2 trillion jump in the value of global equities over the past 30 days, according to Bloomberg. Consequently, that is about the size of the losses bond investors like those in the U.S. 10-year Treasury notes have suffered over that period. We have a $2 trillion gift to stock market investors, a $2 trillion bag of coal for bond market investors.
Yes, bond market investors have gotten the bag of coal this Christmas. And the stock people got all the goodies, all the cookies and milk from Santa Claus. But yeah, it's a roughly equivalent $2 trillion, which makes sense. I mean, money rotates around the markets, and it goes from sector to sector, from industry to industry, from stock market to bond market. And going forward, I think that we're going to see a rotation into precious metals in 2017, just to be a bit contrarian, but I think that's what we'll see in Christmas 2017.
Well, this, of course, is a Christmas episode, so we're looking at the year past, the Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas past. We will be doing a New Year's Eve special where we look at predictions for 2017, but that's coming up in a week. We'll also be in Florida. It'll still be warm, hopefully. We expect that day. But in terms of the looking at the past, this past year, that was 2016, of course, we saw Donald Trump elected, and this continues to be the big story. And if you're seeing us, of course, again, reminder, that means there was not a coup.
Well, before I forget, if you're interested in an interesting YouTube, there's Bing Crosby and David Bowie singing Little Drummer Boy. You know, David Bowie passed away, of course, talking about 2016. It's a fitting tribute this Christmas, this Christmas Eve.
Okay, well, let's go back to markets, finance, and scandal, and the stories about the markets, and we're talking about Trump rally has punished doubters. Those were the bad, the naughty boys, the naughty investors, the naughty girls, the naughty investors that did not have faith in this market rally, and we're talking about that. And I'm going to move from just the overall market to a particular portion of the market rise that is important to understand. It's the transport index. And the transport index, if that's rising, then of course it means that people really have faith that in not just a speculative little bubble, but that there's something really solid behind this and that there could be growth in the future. And here's the chart, and that is the Dow Jones Transport Average soared to its first intraday record of 9,383.65 to finish at a record 9,371.61, marking its first all-time high in more than 2 years. So this is a higher high, which is always a technical indicator of good times coming.
This is Dow theory, pioneered by Richard Russell, I believe, came up with this. It's the transport index confirmation of a new high in the Dow, which would suggest that the rally is widespread and has a good support. The third index that one looks at, of course, is the utility index. With rising interest rates, though, I haven't seen it, but I doubt the utility index is doing as well. But to see the transport index confirm the Dow high, yes, that indicates strength, bullishness.
Well, it could be, everybody could be cheering and celebrating this Christmas. They could be like, woohoo, my stock portfolio has done so well. This is good times. Let's get out and dance and boogie, put on our flapper gear. But I bring up flapper because, of course, the 1920s we saw the flappers, and the headline reads, Trump rally could mark biggest post-election stock market rise since Hoover. Of course, it did then hit all-time highs after this headline. So it is the biggest, fastest stock market rise, the fastest 1,000-point move in since Hoover. And, of course, Herbert Hoover, for those who don't recall, who aren't old enough, he was elected in 1928. What happened in 1929?
Yeah, the big crash. But let me give a shout out to my man, Josh Brown, Reformed Broker on Twitter. You know, after the financial crisis of 2008, Dow Jones was above 10,000, close to 15,000. It crashed down to the 9,000 level or so. And he became very bullish, and he's been riding this market from 9,000 up to 20,000. So there have been some outstanding pundits out there. Josh Brown, the reform broker on Twitter, has definitely been riding this wave, and a big congratulations to him.
Well, let's look at another online broker, well, an online blogger, Yardeni, analyst. In this article, this is a fantastic quote. I think it's a good quote. It's my gift to you, the audience, for on this Christmas Eve day. If you're celebrating it, I know half the people in the world, well, at least half the people, probably like 75% of the people in the world don't celebrate Christmas. So if you're watching this in Asia or Middle East or, I don't know, somewhere Orthodox Christianity, this won't make sense. But if you were to be celebrating Christmas, we are all in a Trump world now, said Yardeni, their analysts. Trump world either is door number one, a new and wonderful reality show that includes all of us as willing or unwilling participants, or else it is door number two, just a remarkable fantasy show, or door number three, something in between. Yardeni said he has drank the Kool-Aid and is rooting for door number one. So rooting for the Kool-Aid, drinking the Kool-Aid.
No, they flip the Etch-a-Sketch upside down, give it a good shake, and start all over again. Yardeni, as well as every financial pundit, except for maybe a very small minority, have been completely wrong every step of the way for the past 6 months to 2 years. And I mean, that's an admission of having absolutely no idea what to expect and having been completely wrong for years now. I mean, markets are designed to take as much money away from as many people as possible. That's the function of a stock market. Why are they designed like that? The capital that fuels capitalism comes from the losers. When you lose money, it goes into the pockets of an entrepreneur that knows what the frick they're doing. Now,
or they're just lucky. Or they're just lucky.
Well, the fact is you need capital to lubricate capitalism. And a lot of times, if there's no credit available, it comes from people losing money. And that's part of the dynamic that propels free market entrepreneurialism. And so you take solace in that. It's not just a tax loss. You're funding an entrepreneur.
So another thing, at this end of 2016, beginning of 2017, we do see a lot of people in America, mostly in the progressive or liberal class or the Beltway class, the media, are of course feeling like they've had a big bag of coal and everybody's kind of upset and sad and all that sort of stuff. But I want to look at another sort of change that we've seen this past year, and that is a new foreign policy, really. We're going to see somebody who's speaks softly, carries a big stick sort of concept, but he's applying it. Trump could be applying it to the actual domestic market. So you see him carrying a big stick toward corporations. And I want to look at this headline from just like a week ago or so when he was meeting with the CEO of IBM, and right before she went to go meet him at Trump Tower, here's the headline: ahead of Trump meeting, IBM says it will hire 25,000 in the U.S. IBM chief executive Gina Rametti said she plans to hire about 25,000 people in the U.S. and invest $1 billion over the next 4 years, laying out her vision, filling technology jobs in America on the eve of a meeting of industry leaders with President-elect Trump. So remember, there were all those industry tech leaders.
Yeah. Okay, well, you mentioned at the top the bond market, stock market, roughly $2 trillion gain versus a $2 trillion loss. Okay, if Trump's going to have the pendulum of capital swing away from CEOs toward labor, then you're going to see higher wages for labor, manufacturing, etc., and less in the pockets of CEOs. So, I mean, that's where it's got to come from. And I think the IBM CEO is being proactive in figuring, let me get on board with this now so that when it comes time for him to swing the big axe and do the Teddy Roosevelt defunding of oligopolists, I want to keep my head. So that seems like a smart move on the head of IBM.
The people full of sour grapes are like, oh, IBM was probably going to have 25,000 new jobs anyway, and these people are just like using these announcements to hope that Trump doesn't carry a big stick against them. And they're also quite negative about the 1,000 jobs saved, close to 1,000 jobs saved at Carrier. They did lose another 1,000 jobs. but they did save 1,000 jobs. And they're also negative about the 50,000 jobs being created by SoftBank with their huge investment. But, you know, the fact is, right now, there are several thousand people quite happy that, you know, these corporations are going to stay in America or create jobs in America, because IBM, of course, has been a big outsourcer over the last decade or so.
Now, the biggest Raspberry Award of the year has got to go to Paul Krugman of the New York Times, who became a conspiracy theory lunatic. He became the biggest idiot on the New York Times editorial board, even out idiocratizing Thomas Friedman, who was holding that position for years as writing the most inane, obtuse nonsense imaginable. Paul Krugman, congratulations. You're now the biggest idiot on the New York Times editorial board.
Well, we have 1 more minute left in this episode, this Christmas Eve episode. What was your gift? What was the headline gift of the year for you? What gift did the headlines give you? Was it Trump? Was that the biggest gift and there's nothing else to talk about of this past year? What was the biggest gift and the biggest bag of coal?
Well, there's 2 major gifts. Obviously, you had the Brexit gift that supplied innumerable views on YouTube. And then you had the Trump gift, which gave us that brilliant episode in front of the Jacob Javits Center, in front of the glass ceiling that was going to explode for Hillary Clinton's coronation as Queen of the World, that melted spectacularly in a kind of Muammar Gaddafi-esque violation on the hood of a car moment. Those were the greatest times of the year. The coal.
So view counts. So what's the coal? What's the bag of coal in the last few seconds we have?
Oh, I think the biggest lump of coal would have to be. There's no lump of coal. It's just been all great.
Well, happy Christmas if you celebrate it, and happy December 24th for those who don't.
Happy Kwanzaa. Merry Christmas. Shalom. Auf Wiedersehen.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad. Until next time. Bye, y'all.